Welcome to the Studio Chatter podcast, everybody. I'm Craig Reeves, and we are back. We got LittleBoiAaron, a very, very talented Canadian producer. You are Canadian, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
So, what is your real name, if you don't mind me asking?
So it is Aaron.
It is Aaron. Okay.
Yeah. It was my my Instagram handle for a while, and when it came time to start putting music out, it just sort of felt natural to use that, you know?
Awesome. So today is a very special day. You know what day it is?
March 12th.
It is March 12th. It is the 1 year anniversary of your debut EP, Influx. It came out March 12th, 2021.
Well, okay, I believe you when you say you've done your research now. Damn. I didn't even know that. Wait.
It came out March 12th, 2021. It is the 1 year anniversary of Influx. And I listened to your EP and it is fantastic. It is really good. Do you feel like you've grown in that year?
Oh, yeah. I very much believes I have grown in that year, just because either with the Snacks server, other Discord servers, and now I'm at college for music industry and that kind of thing. Yeah, I've just been so surrounded by everything like that I feel like it would have been impossible for me to not grow at this point.
Where'd you go to school?
I'm currently at school for music industry arts at Algonquin College.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how big is that school?
It's pretty big. It's like, as far as colleges go, I think it's up there, as far as I know, at least. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been an amazing program so far. It's been everything I've wanted and more kind of thing.
That's awesome. And how old are you now?
I'm 18, about to turn 19.
Oh, wow. You are young. It's crazy how talented these young people are today. Like, you guys are so far beyond where we were when we were 18. Like, you know, my generation of producers. Because, dude, when I was 18, I listened to some of the stuff that I did my senior year of high school. Yeah. It is freaking awful. Like, seriously. Like, I was producing at that age, too. In fact, when I was 18... me and my niece, who's actually older than me, she's actually like a couple months older than me, and we went to high school together. And you know, me and my niece and her friends, we all put together kind of this rap CD. It was kind of dumb, and it was. I haven't listened to it since high school because I lost the CD. But me and my brother produced it, and it was a banger at that time for me, because I mean, we thought it was just like the coolest thing. We played it at the pep rally and at the football games and stuff, and it was just an absolute classic, but then I go back and listen to it in college, I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us, though, honestly. Like, you go back and listen to some of your old stuff and it's like, oh, what was I even thinking, you know?
Yeah, when did you start producing? Like, how old were you?
I know it was 5 years ago, so I guess I was 13 when I started.
Wow.
14.
You started really early.
Yeah.
So despite you being 18, you have a lot of experience under your belt.
I mean, a fair bit, I'd say so, yeah. Like, I've just been messing around with it for a while, and in the past 3 years, I've really just been trying to like really learn as much as I can kind of thing. And the first 2 years was a lot more like, I have FL Studio. Yay. And, you know.
Oh, you use FL Studio?
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I love it. I'm proud supporter of FL Gang. I know there's a lot of Ableton users around, but you know, I'll stick to my guns. I love FL Studio. It's been perfect for everything that I've wanted to do so far. So yeah.
Well, I use Ableton, but I am not one of those hardcore Ableton absolutists.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not. And there's a lot of us in the Ableton world who kind of turn our nose up at FL Studio. Like I don't know. It's kind of like this, FL Studio. That's like the beginner's DAW. And it's really like that with Logic users, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's such a kid's toy, you know? I'm not like that. There are some phenomenal producers who use FL Studio.
Yeah, I agree.
What are your favorite sounds and plugins that you go to? Because like you have a really full and unique sound.
I feel like the big things is that I work a lot with just audio clips and throwing a lot of effects on audio clips.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the basis of sort of where I've developed this sound that I'm working on right now. So the big things would be Vocodex, FL Studio stock plugin, such a good vocoder, and just really is so good at getting this really unique sound out of basically anything. It's really useful, and I use it a lot. That's actually a good question. I use lots of flanging, lots of different flangers, lots of different choruses. Just comes down to just sort of like stacking a lot of different things onto one sound kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you use Splice?
Yes. Recently, though. Just recently I got it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When you say recently, what do you mean?
Like within the last month I got it.
Oh, wow. So you haven't used Splice since you've come out with any of your music?
No, I haven't.
Wow. That's crazy. Because, I mean, a lot of us... Dude, I don't know what I'd do without Splice.
No, that's the thing,
at this
though.
point,
Just
yeah.
in this month, like, I've started using it so much because it's so good at just getting, like, I need that slightly different kick sound. Or
Yeah, but you got to be careful with Splice because the thing is that one sound you like, everybody else likes that sound too. So you got to be careful. You know, it's like, oh man, I love this sound. And you hear it in like 15 other records. It's like, yeah, everybody else liked that sound too. You got to be careful with Splice. Yeah. So we asked this question to pretty much everybody, and normally I ask it later in the interview, but I want to ask it now because it probably ain't going to take long. You're only 18. Mm-hmm. How did you get started in music? How did you go from a little kid playing at the video arcade to the great producer we see today?
So thank you. Great producer. Thank you. I appreciate it. So funnily enough, story's a little anticlimactic. Basically, I just realized how bored I was of video games at the time. Mm-hmm. I was just like, man, I need a different hobby. I need something else because like video games just aren't it right now. I still play video games, but music just sort of was one of the first things because I was listening to a lot of lo-fi at the time. And compared to EDM, lo-fi feels very approachable, I guess, especially once you look at the fact that like sampling is such a big part of it. It felt very like approachable. It's like, okay, I can make a simple drum beat over some cool jazz chords. That's easy. And it took a while. I actually quit after 2 weeks because I was so annoyed with the program FL Studio because it's like I can't do what I want to do and I want to be able to do stuff better kind of thing. But I stuck through it and, you know, slowly but surely just started putting more and more time into it. And now we're here, kind of.
So you just really wanted to find another hobby and you got into music. And it's funny because you didn't mention, I played piano when I was a kid or I was classically trained or anything like that. That is crazy.
Like no musical experience before starting, really. Like, I didn't even know the difference between like a chord and a single note kind of thing.
You have no idea how inspiring that is because there are so many people that want to get into this who have no background and they think, because I didn't grow up doing music, I'm not going to be good at this. Yeah. And you prove that that is not the case, that like, even if you have no background in music, you can pick this up. It takes time. It takes practice. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not going to be good at it at first, but you know, as you do it, then a lot of stuff is on autopilot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we met through the Bad Snacks Discord. That's how you and I met.
Yes.
How did you come to know of Bad Snacks? Because she's had such an impact on so many people.
Oh yeah. Myself especially.
I
similar to a lot of people, it was the Andrew Huang Four Producers One sample song or video. Sorry. And it was funny because I remember clicking on that video, and I'd already been a big fan, obviously, of Andrew Huang and Virtual Riot, who was also in that episode.
Yeah.
But I remember coming out of that, and the Bad Snacks track was by far my favorite.
Thank you.
It was so good. It was so good.
Because everybody was talking about how great Virtual Riot's track is, and it was great. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But man, that Bad Snacks track stood out. I was like, wow.
It was incredible. I still listen to it to this day. Like, I listen to that
it's
song.
like when that when that dropped, that boom, I was like, whoa, holy crap. I didn't even know. I never even expected that. Now I had heard of both Bad Snacks and Virtual Riot prior to the Andrew Huang video. In fact, I was a fan of Bad Snacks before, and I didn't even know that she was on the Andrew Huang thing. And so I was just blown away. I mean, I was really blown away by it all. So yeah. So you then joined her community when you saw that she had a Twitch. Was that what it was?
Yeah. So I just, one of those nights where you're just looking around on Twitch trying to find something fun to watch. It's like, oh, Bad Snacks. I know her. She makes some really cool music. And it's kind of joined through there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so interesting how the pandemic, terrible thing. I mean, I've had loved ones die. My mentor, Sirocco, died from COVID. And, you know, another person, an engineer, Grammy Award-winning engineer who I had the pleasure and the opportunity to work with on multiple occasions, Alvin Spites, he passed away shortly after. It was a very, very traumatizing experience for me and everybody here at VIP Sound Circle last year.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying the pandemic was good, but one thing that did come out from this pandemic that was good was that it brought so many of us together.
Exactly.
Because we would not be even talking right now had it not been for this community and us all, you know, congregating and listening to each other's music. And I feel like I've gotten better as a producer since joining this community of producers. I really have. And obviously, you know, the beat battles, Bad Snacks on her server has a number of different, like she has a beat battle like every month. And you're the only producer who has won twice. So you are a 2-time champion of the Bad Snacks beat battles. How does it feel to be in that league of your own?
Doesn't feel real.
Because there are some really, really talented producers in that community. And you're the only one. I had the honor of winning one of the battles. You know, I'm a former champion and you're a 2-time champ though. So like, seriously, you are in a league of your own when it comes to the beat battles.
Thank you. I mean, like you said, there's so much talent in this server. So many people that I think are just better than me. Like, I don't, you know, and to look at like the server and all these people that have done stuff and that have submitted to the beat battles, and then I'm the only one that's won twice, is just, it doesn't feel real, you know? It doesn't, I can't explain that feeling. And it's funny because so many of us wondered if it was even possible to win more than once. Me too. I also wondered.
It's like, man, it's like, now we need a woman. We need a woman to win, but we don't have enough women that enter. Like, we need like just a monster, like a Magda Helena or somebody like that to just like enter. You know, like just have some monster come in, like a Kilimanzigo or, you know, somebody like a Sage or somebody I
don't know if it was like the most recent one. I don't know if it was the most recent one, but I know that Steffers is a monster, dude. Steffers is really good. Yeah. I am definitely going to have her on this show. She's a phenomenal producer. Like, I really like her music a lot. I agree. It's really cool. Yeah.
But she doesn't enter that much. It's
No.
like Mary was pretty good when she entered. I mean, Mary usually got pretty close because like Mary's tough to beat.
Yeah.
And so Mary, Mary, I don't know what happened to her, but like she just quit entering. And so like we need some cold women to enter.
Yeah,
and they can win. Like a Magda Helena could win. Somebody like a Dear Evergreen could enter and she could win. Like we have some really talented women in this community and they could win. Like they could definitely win if enough of them enter. It's just that we don't have enough women enter. And so I think that's like the last thing that will make it to where, wow, okay, we've made history again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I want to just now talk a little bit about, I guess, kind of your views on where you want to go in your career and what like the future is. Because I mean, you obviously are very good at music and you obviously are very young. And so you have the whole future ahead of you. If you could come up with like the perfect career, what would that be for you?
Whew, that is a question and a half. I guess ideally I kind of want to be able to do everything kind of proficiently at least. And when I say everything, I mean, I want to be able to obviously produce music. I want to be able to, make my own art for albums and whatnot. I want to be able to like run a music video. Maybe I want to be able to perform. I want to be able to like kind of start a concert, hold shows. And I want to be able to do a lot of things. Whether or not I actually do them consistently is less important to me as of right now, at least.
So is the dream to make a living doing music? Is that the dream?
Yeah, I would say so.
So let's go further than that. Let's dream bigger. Okay. I'm talking about if you had a mansion and 2 Escalades outside, all right? How would you have gotten there? What is your ideal way of getting there? I guess that's the best way I can ask it.
It would be hopefully doing what I'm doing now, just releasing music and like having people listen to it.
Okay, so you're looking to be basically Skrillex.
Kind of, yeah. I guess so. I think, have you ever heard of Flume?
Yeah, definitely.
He would be probably a bit more for what I'd be aiming for, because what he's done that's so cool is that he's gotten all this traction, all this popularity just from having this super unique sound. And like, I want that. I want to be able to make the music the way I make it and with the sound that I have, but to have it still be appreciated and respected kind of thing.
Would people call him the father of future bass, do you think? Would that be a fair assessment of Flume?
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least one of the godfathers of it.
Yeah, definitely
sure.
up there, if not the guy. He's definitely up there.
Yeah, absolute legend. He is going to go down as like that is a pioneer. Like whether you like his music or not, it's like Kygo. Like Kygo is a pioneer. I mean, in a lot of ways, like tropical house. I mean, people weren't really doing tropical house prior to Kygo. I mean, whether you like his music or not, like I'm not a huge fan of his music, but it's like, you got to respect him. He is a pioneer. Like Skrillex is a pioneer. He's like, I mean, you got to say he's the king of dubstep. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like,
and so it's like, yeah, dubstep is kind of played, but it's like, he is the father of dubstep. He is like, and I think that's how you become a legend, right? Just having a unique sound that catches on, that influences so many other people.
Exactly.
Have you thought about working with other artists? Because I know you worked with Cloud Jumper, right? Who's a mutual friend of ours.
Exactly. Yes. One of the nicest people on the earth, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very talented producer and now vocalist. Just like, he's been incredible. But as far as collaboration, that's something that coming into college for music has been huge for. So now I'm surrounded by people that are all insane at what they do, you know?
Yeah.
Like with my song Orange that I released with Nathan Zink.
I love that song.
He is
love it.
One of the best guitar players I've ever seen. Just period. Like, not even, you know, like, I think he's up there with like Tim Henson and like Manuel Gardner Fernandez, you know, those guys. I think he's up there. So like, just having these people just around makes it almost impossible to not want to collaborate and to do more with more people, kind of thing.
Yeah. And plus, that's how you make the hits.
Exactly.
Like if somebody's featuring on something, that's what ends up on the Billboard chart. Like if you did a record featuring, you know, I don't know, Dua Lipa, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's what's going to end up on the Billboard chart. Like that's going to be the hit record, right? Because that Say It record was big with Flume. I can't remember who it was he featured. What was the girl's name? I can't remember. I can't remember the artist, but that record was big. You know, that record did really well. And so, like those are the ones like Kygo, like when Kygo has records where there's a feature. Selena Gomez. And yeah, that's how these artists are getting big, man. They are featuring with these big pop stars and you know, like BB Rexa or somebody like that. Oh, you would sound good with BB Rexa too. Like that's what I think. If you're going to have the career where you are extremely successful, that's the way you got to go. Yeah. Now, when you do become a big name, after you done won your Grammys, don't forget about us now.
Oh, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Shout outs everywhere. Like, I will never forget all of y'all.
Yeah, because I know you're gonna make it very far. You're gonna make it very far. So I now want to talk about the record you did, because we had just mentioned Cloud Jumper. I actually really like that record a lot. And the record's called Summer Rain. It is a very cool record. I'm going to actually link to it in the description if you guys are watching this on YouTube. It's the latest single that you came out with him. What was it like working with Cloud Jumper, and what is the story behind that record, and you know, why did you guys put it together?
So funnily enough, it was actually a situation where I had this track that was mostly produced. It was more of an idea, but like still needed a lot of work. But I kind of knew that it wasn't necessarily strong enough on its own. So, you know, through the various Discord servers that I'm in, predominantly Bad Snack server, I was just looking around trying to find a vocalist, and Cloud Jumper reached out like very early on and said, "Hey, I would love to try singing on it." And I said, "Absolutely," because like you're a very, very talented individual. And and it just we got back and we sent some stuff back and forth, and mixing was a long process, but once we got to a point where it sounded good, we were both really happy with how it turned out. And it kind of just worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely sounds really good. He said mixing was difficult. What for?
Yeah. Well, that was likely third or second time ever like mixing vocals properly, at least.
Yeah.
At least like getting vocals from a vocalist and then mixing them. That was like my second time ever doing that.
Vocals are tricky, dude.
Yes.
Vocals are hard.
But there's just so much like dynamic range that can be in them, and it's tough, but we got through it, and I think it sounded pretty good.
I have a tendency to ask like producers who like do instrumental music this a lot for some reason, but have you thought about like taking an artist under your wing and trying to make them into a star, that sort of thing, like the whole traditional producer thing? Have you thought about that?
It's something that's actually come into my mind a bit recently, just because, again, I've been just exposed to so many amazing vocalists and some really good rappers too. And yeah, like it's been something that like I've thought about it, but at the same time too, I do kind of want to be my own kind of thing, my own music making entity kind of thing. And that like if I were to collaborate with someone to that regard, I would want it to be like
more of like they feature on something.
Something like that, yeah.
So if Ariana Grande came to you right now and said, I have an album coming out, I just want you to produce me, along with 2 other producers, would you take it? Would you do it?
Well, yeah, because I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, so
I mean, like, obviously, if that opportunity presents itself,
yeah. So the point is, you take what you can get. You know what I mean?
Obviously, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, I get the idea. Like, I mean, it's kind of like the ideal is, you know, obviously, and it's funny because when I first started myself, like when I was, and really kind of the goal for me anyway was I never had any intention to be an artist. Like my goal was just to, you know, make music and make money at it. Like, you know, if I could make a track for somebody and, you know, write to it or like be a co-writer or whatever the case may be, if I get paid for it, I will do it. You know what I mean? I don't care if my name is on it or not. Like I just like making music, and it's kind of like I was doing it before I was making money at it. So I do it making money at it, you know? So that's kind of my philosophy on it. But, you know, everybody's got their own thing. So now what instruments do you play? I'm curious, like, or do you play any at all?
So up until about 5 months ago, I didn't play any instruments. But in those 5 months, I have started playing bass and guitar. Oh, wow. And yeah, it's just, I'm not any good at them yet, but you know, we're just kind of, I felt like it was sort of, I've been thinking about picking up both of those instruments for a while. So again, being surrounded by a lot of very talented people just sort of pushes you to be like, yeah, you know, now is the time to start learning this. And
guitar was your first instrument. Ugh. Man, that is an instrument that I cannot play. I am terrible. Like, I have decided at this point that I am just too uncoordinated to play guitar. Like, I'm literally the most uncoordinated person I know. Like, literally, I am as uncoordinated as Neon Vines is coordinated, which means I am extremely uncoordinated. And it's funny because people are like, oh, piano takes a lot of coordination. I guess, but like, and I've joked about it before, like piano's just button mashing. Like that's all it is. You just like, you hit something and it plays. It's right. Like people can teach themselves how to play piano, but like with a guitar, it's like you're holding something, you're having to shape your hands. It's just, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely different. It's definitely.
I never actually tried drums, but like, you know, I don't think I'd be good at drums either.
Drums is like, if you can count to 4, you can be a decent drummer.
It ain't that simple. It ain't that simple. I guarantee it ain't that simple. Have you played drums?
A little bit, but like the same kind of thing. It's like just been on and off. If I'm given the opportunity to, I will, but I don't get the opportunity to that often kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you sing?
No, but I want to. Because recently I've been listening to a lot of all the new hyper pop and that kind of thing. And that feels like something that just like overly processed vocals feels kind of approachable.
Yeah, I can't get into hyper pop. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. It is definitely different.
You know what it reminds me of? Like hyper pop, for some reason, it's kind of the musical form of like candy that's too sweet, like overly sweet coffee or something that's just like, like over the top. I mean, it just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I respect it. Don't get me wrong. And there's some hyper pop that I like, right? Like Sophie, some of Sophie's stuff I really like. And some of Charlie XCX stuff I like, but I don't know, man. Like hyper pop is, I don't know. It's not my thing. It didn't really tickle my fancy too much, I have to say.
Yeah. I don't blame you. It's definitely a lot for someone who maybe like isn't necessarily actively looking to like.
And it's funny because I don't really. There are some songs that I really like, and I wonder if that would be considered hyper pop. Because like you remember that record that Dear Evergreen did, the 1,000 Miles cover. Did you ever hear that one?
Yes.
Is that hyper pop?
I mean, to an extent, I'd say.
Because I really like that one.
Probably.
I really like that record a lot.
It's like the thing about hyper pop. It's kind of like hyper pop is like EDM in that like you can say EDM, but there's so many different kinds of it.
Yeah.
And hyperpop is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd assume.
Do you think a lot of do you think a lot of EDM all sounds the same? Like when people think of EDM, they usually think of like you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't even know what genre of EDM that is. It's just, it's just EDM. I guess you could say bass music. I don't know.
I think that all EDM, that thing, doesn't necessarily sound the same. But like, I think that the conception that all EDM sound the same kind of just comes from that everyone just has a very narrow perception of what EDM is. Like you said, most people think of bass music like dubstep and all that kind of stuff. But I think that if I were to play like a future garage record or something like that, like a chill virtual riot track versus something stupidly heavy and dubstep like festival kind of stuff, you'd be able to tell a difference.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's that all EDM sounds the same. I think unfortunately a lot of the genres within EDM, a lot of the music all sounds the same. Like I was talking with Zoff about this last week, and it was like, there is kind of a generic thing with tech house. There is a little bit of, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, you can't really tell, like if you go to a Spotify playlist, all right, and it's just tech house, it's like, it's all the same artist. It sounds like it's the same artist. And that's not like a knock on those artists. It's just that there's so much pressure from labels to have a particular sound. And it used to not be like that with electronic music.
Those the good old SoundCloud days where people were just uploading what they wanted, and it was doing really good or not doing so much kind of thing,
Yeah. Have you thought about releasing music through a label? Because a lot of the electronic artists, they go through labels.
And it's funny you should mention that because I've got an EP that's coming out now on the 5th of April. And it was the first time I ever tried to like submit an EP around for like submitting to labels and that kind of thing. And it was definitely a bit of a mixed experience just because, you send out to so many and only so few even get back to you. Whether or not it's good information, that's even less of a chance kind of thing. But, like I do think it's something I will do in the future. I just, right now, it just does not feel like what I really want to be doing, at least. Yeah,
there is an advantage from what I've heard about releasing through a label, and that you don't have to worry about the distribution. You don't have to worry about promotion. You don't have to worry about, all that kind of stuff. But see, the way I look at it is this: nothing against these labels, but I see so many people releasing stuff through labels and they're still not getting a ton of plays. They're still not getting a lot of, it's like you probably could have promoted it yourself and gotten more attention if you promoted it yourself. Cause you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a knock on those labels. I'm sure they're good labels, but like, I mean, unless you're releasing on like a big label, like a Bitbird or somebody like that, then, I mean, are you really going to get a great deal of exposure on, on a small label? Who knows, right?
I'm actually really happy you brought this up, because that was what had been on my mind the entirety of last week, because I was just sitting here thinking, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Should I do it? Like, I don't know. And at the end of the day, it just sort of felt like I can just put more effort into promotion for myself. And
was there a label that reached out to you, or that you submitted your music to?
So I submitted to a lot of labels, just like smaller internet ones kind of thing. I would say maybe just for confidentiality's sake, I probably won't.
Yeah, you don't have to mention them. No.
Yeah, but there was.
It'd be funny if we were putting these labels on blast.
Exactly, just like, oh yeah,
oh, that Jim Bob label. You know.
Yeah, those idiots.
We about to put them on blast on the Studio Chatter podcast, man. Nah.
I'd just say, like, there was no bad experiences at all, so I definitely don't want to, like, say, like, but, like, if there was interest, I just sort of decided against it, kind of thing.
Any artists that you have been listening to that inspire you, that make you like, damn, that's really good?
So I get asked this question a lot, and I've kind of tried to, like, refine my answer over the while that I've been asked this question. So the first one, I'm happy you mentioned him earlier, Kygo. He was huge when I was first starting. Just because, like, it was such, like, it was just so catchy. It was just so, like, it just gets stuck in your head and you just want to keep listening to it. So when I was first starting, Tropical House was huge for me. So Kygo was a big one. Recently, artist goes by the name of J Kuch, says JKUCH.
Oh.
It's been something that I've showed around to a few people, and a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, I really hear the inspiration there. And he's just been crazy. I think he was my most listened to artist last year by far. Yeah, he's been incredible. And as of right now, those are the big two.
Oh wow.
I would say.
Okay. Nice. Your music sounds like I don't know if you've heard of this person before, but she's an electronic artist. She's a producer. Her name is Tsunami. You ever heard of her?
Yes.
Yeah, your music kind of reminds me of her. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a big compliment. I love her music.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, she releases a lot of stuff on Bitbird as well. Yeah, kind of your sound kind of reminds me of hers. I hear a lot of particularly that Fever Dream record that you did, which actually did pretty well on Spotify. Yeah,
it's been doing okay, and it's still getting like a consistent amount of views, at least by my standards. So
that record was featuring Baby. Is that the artist? How did you get linked up with Baby?
So there was the whole. Like a few months ago, there was the big server versus server event that I really, really tried my best to do as much as I possibly could on the Bad Snacks album for that event. But Baby was the host for the streams at the time, or at least for a few of them. And I saw that she had a server that was also in the event, so I joined it, and I just started getting acquainted, trying to meet as many people as I could. And she was hosting some beat battles from time to time, and Fever Dream was just like 90% one of those beat battles. And then she was just interested in singing over it, and I said, by all means, go ahead.
Also, she just reached out to you, huh?
Yeah, more or less.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I bet you're glad because it did so well. Did you have to go out of your way to promote that one, or did it just kind of organically do well?
So it was really organically, I would say, just because at the time I still don't even put enough effort into promotion, and I'm really trying to do better on that. But she's been popping off recently. Like, she's been releasing so much music and gaining a lot of traction. So yeah, I think that a lot of it has come from that, but it's not a bad thing, is it?
No, not at all.
Homies popping off.
Yeah, well, I mean, you definitely are doing a very good job. Any future projects you working on? Because you haven't released anything yet this year.
So I've got something releasing on the 5th of April.
Oh, nice. You mentioned that, yeah.
It's just an EP.
Oh, wow, another EP.
Yeah. I realize now that you mentioned that today is the 1-year anniversary of Influx, that I'm releasing another EP at a very similar time. Maybe this is just a good time of year for that kind of thing for me. But yeah, so there's that. And then I've got another project that is like a whole album that's being released. I think it's April 8th or April 9th.
Oh, wow. So you're doing an EP and then 3 days later an album?
Yeah. It's the EP is a personal project, and the album is a much bigger like collaboration project. And then I think at the same time that album's dropping, we're also hosting a live stream concert with a bunch of talent from the program. So yeah, we've been busy recently.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, you definitely have your plate full, and thank you for coming on and doing this interview with me. I've wanted to have you on for quite some time, and I'm a big fan of your music.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm a big fan of the show. I've listened to it with my mom a few times.
That makes me smile, brother.